Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Okay, we are just going to also go live on YouTube while I'm recording this. Haven't done this before, so let's just see how it goes. Okay, I've got the heads up from YouTube. We are all live. Welcome everybody. It is so nice to see you here. Yes, as you just heard, welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. It was suggested to me recently that I do a live podcast, so I thought, okay, no problem. I will record to YouTube while I'm on Podbean. So forgive me. I'm still trying to get all of this right. The lighting's off and everything, but I hope you understand. If you're joining for the first time, welcome. It is so lovely to have you here. You know, we were just celebrating more than 30,000 downloads, which is just so exciting because it means that we have, you know, a niche and a niche and a niche and a niche. And so I feel like 30,000 downloads in about a year is really fantastic. And anyway, I'm celebrating, and it's thanks to you guys that I was able to do this, or that we were able to do this. So thank you to everybody who listens, and thank you to all of the new subscribers. So welcome to my room. This is the updated room. We're still renovating and trying to get everything organized. I have Gabe with me. Oh, he's asleep in the back. I don't know if you can, nope, you can't see him there. So he might walk around sometimes. For those of you who haven't met him, yeah, he's just my little rescue fur baby. Love him to bits. Also call him the practice manager. So what are we talking about today? Well, if I can calm myself down for a minute, I always get so excited doing these podcasts. Okay. A number of women that I'm working with at the moment, none of the men are sort of in this space just yet, but of the women that I'm working with at the moment, I have a few that are looking at launching products and services this year. So it's very exciting for them. But I thought, how can I give them some support around this that is in a way that aligns with their core values, their shadow values, and that allows them to, I guess, get this to market without it really causing them any stress or feeling a bit icky or yucky. So today we're going to talk about how to launch your next product or program or service or evergreen thing that you've got up on the web with ease and grace and flow and all of those sorts of beautiful things, because I believe launching should be an absolute joy. Why not? And I will talk with you about how I am, mid-launch at the moment for something as well. So I guess the first thing to really ask yourself is to, before you launch anything, you need to take a few steps first. And one of those steps is validating your offer. If you don't have a validated offer, what happens is you create something, you take it to market and you don't sell it. And then what do? You go and you create something else and you take that to market and you hope that it's going to sell. And that's not necessarily how good private practice works, right? It gets to be super duper easy. So if you have something you want to take to market, of course, validate your offer first. You simply validate your offer by checking with your audience that it's something that they would be interested in purchasing. And always, of course, speak to the result or the transformation. Once you've validated your offer, then what I would go and do is really think about it's not the next step, but it's the launch thing, because that's what we're talking about today. So when it comes to launching, you hear all these horror stories about how it takes so much time to launch and so much energy, and all these people have nightmares over launching. And that's often because a launch period can feel to some people like it's this I don't know, a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. And so what they will do is put themselves under all of this unnecessary angst around, oh, how many people bought it and why aren't people buying it and all this sort of jazz. If you've ever launched something before and you haven't done it from a place of alignment, then you may know what I'm talking about. It's really hard. Not the technical things, they're sort of hard of themselves sometimes, but I think emotionally and energetically it can be quite draining, and we can leak our energy sometimes and forget to call it back. The other thing too is that we forget that we're going to manifest whatever it is that we're putting out there. So if we're saying to ourselves, oh, this is really hard and I don't like this, and oh, it's really uncomfortable and it's really horrible and, I'm not doing well, well, then you're going to manifest those sorts of results, okay? You're going to get back whatever it is you put out. So if you're not seeing sales come in, have a look at what you're telling yourself, have a look at where your energy is, and update and improve things from there, right? Now, the next thing that you want to do is get into the right mindset for launching. And you want to maybe ask yourself, hey, if launching from a place of total alignment with my values, with my shadow values, got to be super easy and it was joyful and I was happy and I loved it and it felt super light, what would be going on? And maybe use that as a journal prompt and allow yourself just to free write to that and see whatever comes through. Okay, so that's the first thing that you want to do. So I've got my notes here. The next thing that you want to do is when you've written that out, I want you then to think about, what's the self-talk that's going on when it comes to launching? Launching involves marketing, obviously. And I think in private practice, sometimes we leave our therapist hat on and we forget to put on our private practice owner hat or our CEO hat. But what resistance comes up for you when you start thinking about launching? Is there any energetic resistance? Where do you notice it in your body? And if you believe that your body has wisdom, what's the wisdom that this sensation is trying to convey to you? What's the message that this shift of energy in your body has for you? Okay, what are you meant to be hearing, allowing yourself to receive, and expanding from? So that's something really to consider, but also consider limiting beliefs and consider stories that you might be telling yourself as well. So what are you saying about launching? Are you saying, oh, so-and-so said it was hard, or I've seen other people in online groups or Insta say that it was hard? So really be aware of any of those stories that you're telling yourself, because here's the thing. Launching, like everything else, is neutral when it comes to energy. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not an easy thing. It's not a hard thing. In fact, it's not really a thing until we start to attribute a meaning to it. Okay, and you've heard me talk about this lots before on the show, so I won't go into it in too much detail here, but really have a look at if you're telling yourself something that's encouraging, empowering, supportive, or if it's something that's limiting. And so the next step is to identify any limiting beliefs and process them. I gave you a strategy for that a few episodes ago. So take some time to go back and listen to that and work through any limiting beliefs that come up, because we want you to be able to not only be aware of them, but shift them. Because while those beliefs may have worked for you in the past, they're not working for you now, or they're not working for you when it comes to launching your product or your program or your offer or your service or whatever it is that you're taking to market. So work through those limiting beliefs using that strategy from the previous episodes and arrive at your new belief, right? When you have that new belief, then it's a matter of implementing that. And we do that by saying, well, what's the right aligned action for me to take? Because here's the thing. The blueprint for your successful for you private practice lies within, okay? And I don't believe that you need to go and buy somebody else's strategy or somebody else's framework. I think when you do that, it's because you don't trust yourself. And the longer that you buy somebody else's framework and their kits and their this and their that, what you're doing is reinforcing a mistrust or a distrust of yourself. Okay, and we don't want to do that. We want to cultivate, that feminine energy now, and allow ourselves to receive, allow ourselves to nurture, allow ourselves to surrender. And here we're talking about surrendering into the guidance that comes from within. Okay, makes sense? I know it does. So that's the next step, allowing yourself to trust that you know the exact right action that you need to take next in total alignment. And now that might be, nailing your message, or it might be sitting down and creating beautiful graphics for a sales page or a landing page. It might be going out and connecting with people in your audience and, checking in with them and letting them know, hey, I'm putting something together for you based on what we've discussed in the past, when you're validating the ideas. So there are lots of things that you can be doing here. And this is a really wonderful process. Like, this launch process is all about, how do we launch from a place of alignment? And alignment means it's congruent with how you feel, it's congruent with your values, it's congruent with your shadow values, and it's congruent with what you really want for your clients. One of the other things that can happen when we're launching is we get into our own minds and we get stuck in there and we get stuck in fear. And that happens when we're trying something new, or when we're learning a new skill, learning a new strategy, learning a new process. That will go away, that voice will quieten down, and the risk will start to feel reduced over time with experience, as anything does. But if you feel like your ego mindset might take you out and get in the way or be quite disruptive when it comes to you being able to launch, then that's a sign for you to maybe step away from things and go and connect back with the feminine energy, right? Remember, when we're creating a private practice with soul, we're not trying to be masculine dominant or feminine dominant when it comes to the type of energy we need to embody. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We understand that there'll be some aspects to the business that require us to be focused and planning and logical and in that masculine. But there are also going to be other times, perhaps demonstrated by when we're doing the direct client work, where we need to be connected, grounded, nurturing, all of those sorts of beautiful, beautiful things, trusting. And so at the same time, we want to be, wherever we can, having that harmonization of the masculine and the feminine. The masculine is going to provide you the structure that you need to feel safe to be able to sit in the feminine space. If you find in your practice when it comes to launching that you're all in your head, then that's a sign that you need to find a way to support yourself in connecting back into the feminine. That might be creating graphics. It might be going outside and waiting for inspiration to hit. It might be moving your body. It might be just taking a rest and going for a big walk or something like that. On the other hand, if you're all about creating the graphics and you keep having these bright, shiny ideas and there's all these things that you get inspired by, and it's just boom, download after download after download, and you feel really, really busy, but you're not actually completing things, you're not actually seeing results yet, that's a sign that you need to invest more intention and attention to the masculine energy. Okay, so that's where you will help yourself to feel more grounded by looking at, okay, what's the easiest way I could get these emails out or these posts out? So this podcast episode today has been about, really, I guess, launching in alignment more than here's the strategy. And I'll tell you why I haven't gone down the pathway of talking to you about strategy. It's because, back in the day when I was just learning all of this stuff, I bought so many launch kits. I was one of those people, like I've shared with you before, like I was addicted to buying the $37 things you'd see on Instagram all the time. I buy them all the time. I was that person. And I was always forever hopeful that the next one I bought was going to have the answer for me, because I didn't trust myself to get it right. I didn't trust that I knew what my audience needed, and I didn't believe that I had the skills to be able to launch something. I thought I was clueless. I thought I knew nothing, and I thought other people had the answers. And so I thought if by paying them $37 to get their kit or to get their calendar, their launch calendar and things like that, I truly believed that I would just be able to plug in all of my stuff and boom, I'd have a launch plan. Well, that did happen. I did purchase people's Google spreadsheets and stuff like that, and I was able to put in the start date and the duration of my launch. But most of the time, these spreadsheets did things that just didn't feel right for me. Like they would say, oh, okay, if you're going to launch on the 1st of July and it's a, 3-week launch, then the last 5 days you want to be sell, 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 sell. And the days leading up to there, you want to have posts that speak to this and posts that speak to that. And here are all the prompts. But it didn't feel like it really matched private practice. It felt more like it was for, I don't know, regular coaching or I don't know, retail or selling products and things like that. It just didn't feel like it was made for our space. And I found myself, being disappointed in a product that I bought that was going to, that was a launch kit. So then I would see another one advertised and I think, oh, maybe this one might be the better one. Maybe this one will work. And so I'd buy that one. And then that one would have an issue with all of the prompts were just totally irrelevant and they wouldn't land for my audience, which is private practice owners. So I couldn't use those and I sort of felt like I wasted, a lot of my $37. But you know what? It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, guess what? I kept buying launch kits. It wasn't until I started doing some of this deeper work that I knew in my head, okay, I have the blueprint within me, but I just did not trust myself to do it because I hadn't done it before. And I hadn't done it successfully before when I'd used other people's launch kits. And yeah, it messes with your head when you try and you follow somebody else's proven system and you use it and you don't get a result. So it can really be quite damaging to your confidence and to your motivation to do it again. So what I ended up doing was facing facts, which was very hard. I had to, put my big girl pants on and realize that I had to start practicing and embodying what I was teaching my clients, which is they have the answers within. So I sat down with my journal and I thought, okay, if it got to be easy, if it really got to be easy, me launching something, what would be going on? And what came up for me was, well, I'd have a low ticket product. I wouldn't be pushing it on everybody. It would be something people wanted. It would be something that was of high value. It would be something that people would, rave about to friends and peers and colleagues after they'd done it. All of this sort of stuff. And so all of that came through. And then I thought it got to be easy. So then I asked myself, well, if it got to be even easier, what would that look like? What would that launch look like? And so, what came through then was like, well, it would just be a 2-week window. It wouldn't be a 6-month launch with this big runway and this, that, and the other. And I wouldn't be repeatedly launching every month. It would just be one-off, a launch for 2 weeks. And I don't want to send 20 emails every day and harass people with, a $47 product or a $37 product, whatever it was back then. So I thought, I'm not going to send emails. I'm just going to share in my communities and I'm just going to share on my page and we'll see what happens. So that felt easy and aligned for me. And guess what? Because it felt easy and aligned, I was in a different energy, which meant, of course, I sold. I made sales. I'm actually mid-launch at the moment, and I think many of you may be aware of this. I'm not sure because I did mention it on my previous podcast, I think. But yeah, so I validated an idea, which was people in private practice wanting some support around how to post on social media and get results from it. Now, I know how to do that. Like, I'm great at that. I don't do paid advertising because, well, hang on, there's a caveat there. I'm just looking at Google Ads now. So you might see an ad come up in the next week or two. But I'm having to play around with Google Ads now. But in the past, no paid advertising. All my work came from social media and through my website and through word of mouth. So anyway, this time what I did was I validated the idea. I knew that people wanted support, knowing what to post on social media. And then all I did was, what did I do? I went into MailChimp and I created a landing page. I think it's like 3 sentences or something. It just talks about, do you want to come along to this? And this is the benefit and what you'll get from it. And it's $47 and stuff like that. And then I thought, oh, how many places do I want to sell? Like, how many seats do I want to sell? And my goal is not to make money. My goal is to help. So I just thought, oh, well, I'll just put 20 on it. And anyway, I think there's only 6 places left or something, and it's happening next Saturday. So yeah, if you want to come along, you can. But it's happening next Saturday, and I haven't written it yet. So my approach is I want to sell it before I put it together, because so many times I've seen people go and create these amazing things that they love. They are totally in love with them. And then they take them to market and nobody buys. It's crickets. And it's because, number one, they didn't validate what they were doing. Number two, they did something they love, not what their audience needs or wants. And they probably priced it wrong and all of that sort of stuff. And of course, not marketed it in the right way. But what I'm saying to you is I'm just giving you an example here of a launch I'm in at the moment that has been such a pleasure, such a pleasure. No paid ads, as I said, just all on social media, just every other day, just mentioning it, giving some help to people with their marketing, stuff like that. And yeah, I'm so excited about it. And it has just been a joy. And it was only a 2-week window to get 20 places filled, which is pretty good. And yeah, as you heard, 3/4 of them are taken now, those places. And I'm so excited to do it and I can't wait. And putting the content together is easy, like when you're in flow, and it's such a joy. And I've got all of these ideas of things that I want to do for the people who've enrolled in that. And now I just get to enjoy it. And guess what? Because I've already been paid and I've already received the money from that, it means that I can use that income to invest into the workshop, right? Rather than do it the other way around and create the product and, get my VA to help and my assistant to help. And I'm going to spend my time on it, researching stuff and putting stuff together and blah, blah, blah. Only to not sell it, right? Do you see what I mean? Like, turn it on its head. You want to sell it before you create it, validate it first. But launching in alignment is the easiest way to take a new program, product, service, evergreen thing on your webinar, on your website, like maybe a webinar, to market. Okay, so validate it first, sell it second, then create it. And yeah, think about what we've spoken about today when it comes to alignment. Just to recap for you, think about if you've got to launch in total alignment with your values and your shadow values and got to feel easy and fun and joyful and whatever your theme word is for the year, what would be going on? Step 2, have a look at any limiting beliefs that might be coming up for you. Step 3, go and process those limiting beliefs. Step 4, understand you have the blueprint within already. You already know the right aligned next action to take, so write it down. Okay, tune in, write it down, understand, make your own little launch map there, and then go and implement it. And voila, launch. Easy launch, okay? That's an easy, profitable launch that feels good because it's aligned, that isn't salesy or icky or anything like that, and that's going to increase your audience, increase your visibility, increase your impact because you'll be helping more people, okay? It's just got so many benefits. All right. I know that you are absolutely going to love this process. So let me know how you go with it. If you need any support at all, just send me an email. My details are below. Have a beautiful rest of the day, everybody, and I will see you on Wednesday next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.